When we were young, 2024, all album plays. We are listeners to albums, and soon we will be watchers of albums. 57 records in total being played at the festival, and we here at the Emo Social Club are reviewing all 57 of those records. In this episode, we are reviewing Silverstein's Discovering the Waterfront. And Lizzie, Silverstein's been around forever, but maybe our audience doesn't know who Silverstein is. Maybe they don't know about this record. Please tell the people at home more about them and this record.
This was the second studio album that they released via Victory Records on August 16th, 2005. It was produced by Cameron Webb and included Smile in Your Sleep and Discovering the Waterfront, which is the title track. And even though My Heroine is on this album, it technically wasn't a single.
Just a video?
It wasn't listed as a single release.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it might have been one where it just got popular and they said, let's make a video for it.
Or because it's called My Heroine, and so you can't put that on TV.
Yeah, that's also true.
Even though it's a different word.
But, you know, it gets
the same vibe. They were doing the same. Yeah, they were doing the thing.
So this charted on number 24 on Billboard 200 and number 3 on the Indie Billboard US chart.
We're going to tell you what we think about this record. Before we do, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It is down there, down below. There's also a like button and a playlist with all of our album reviews. So you can let us know if we've already talked about your favorite. Maybe your favorite's coming up, but you won't know unless you subscribe. So hit the button. Do it now, or you will forget. I'll wait. I'm not waiting. We're going to talk about the record, but do it. Get it done. Let me tell you what I think about Silverstein's Discovering the Waterfront. This was one of those records that was just so ever present. This is 05, so it's right when I was finishing high school, super into this scene. I'm into the Used, I'm into My Chem, I'm into all these bands that are coming out at that exact same time. And so Silverstein is very much a part of it. It's in the swirl. It's in the Warped Tour thing. It's all of that.
The Warped Whirl, if you will.
Yeah, the Warp. So I had a lot of people that put this record on when I was there. And I definitely have heard this record before. And this is not my first time hearing it, but I think it's my first time hearing it in order, in full. Mm-hmm. You know, when you've seen a movie in parts when you're watching it on TV or something like that. And so you're I've never really sat and watched it from beginning to end. I think that's how I've heard this record because I've seen them live so many times. I've seen all these songs played. So this is okay, I'm going to sit, we're going to sit here. I'm going to actually pay attention to what's going on. This album is such a goddamn ripper. This album fucking rules.
Your brain right now is fucking bursting, homie.
I was holy shit. This album is so good. There is so much about this that is exactly that time and place. And I think for me, there's a lot of that nostalgia to it, but certainly the songwriting, the vocals, the melodies, the guitars, the way this album is sequenced, the things that they do on this record. I'm no, this was one of the prime records of that time, one of the must hears. And I think that's why I heard it so much is this is very clearly where the pinnacle of this style of music is and Silverstein's still around, still doing it and still re-releasing this record and still doing a lot with this record. So clearly it's got a lot going for it. I absolutely stand by this record. I love this record. I'm it took me this listen to go, no, I not only like these songs as I've heard them separately, but this as an album and a cohesive record. I'm I'm in, I'm sold. My top tracks off of Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein, just the whole record. But no, I'm not going to pick the whole record. And not picking the singles either, except I will say Smile in Your Sleep is just, it's an absolute banger. Really good choruses, but then it has a screaming, more breakdowny part. And it has these different vocal things like that. It's great for that genre if you're ever to an alien, right?
Whole
an
alien
alien's never heard this. It's Smile in Your Sleep would be a great way to introduce them to what this post-hardcore screamo sound is like. Ones that are not singles, Your Sword versus My Dagger, the album opener. We always say the album's got to have a really ripper on get in.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone pick it up. Rips. Fucking rips.
Pick it up in a bit.
Pick it up. So Your Sword versus My Dagger is great, and then it goes into the more of the singles on it. And Call It Karma, the album closer, also is very strong on that one. And I've heard them play that live. You are looking at me in a way that I'm going to throw hands, dude. I think it's a great album closer as well. It's a little bit more melodic versus more of the heavy stuff. The chorus is really good. I've seen them play it live that now I'm just yeah, here we are. We're back in it. It's here. It's happening again. I can't say that any song is like is better than any of the other ones. Like they're all just this is a really good record. Least favorite tracks off Discovering the Waterfront? None. No, this record's great. There's just a lot of records that came out at this time that they have the sound. They have so many tracks that just really do a great job of selling the band as a whole entity. This album has a lot of rippers, a lot of screamers, a lot of like fast tracks, a lot of heavy tracks, but it has like My Heroine on it, which is also doing a ballad, but with screaming in it, which was not really a major thing at the time. But I think hearing this, it's like I can listen to a softer or more melodic and singing song that it's not taking me out of like being a post-hardcore fan, right? Like the dudes who are like, I came here to mosh are still going to mosh to that. And it's still a more melodic and a slower song, but you're still in the pit to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no low points on this record for me. I'm just an absolute fan. I think Silverstein has kept the energy up through most of their career. I think that they are a quality band with a quality sound and a quality album that they've gone on to do a lot of good things because this record fucking rules.
So these are my thoughts about Silverstein Discovering the Waterfront. I'm a judge a book by its cover girly when it comes to album covers. So I looked at it and I said, I don't like how this looks. I'm not listening to it. But now I have listened to it. But to start off, I never even knew Silverstein was a band until recently. I found out the name of Silverstein in my last year of college, like 2016, 2017. I think overall, I was pretty impressed by this. I really like this.
Good.
What immediately kicked it up is a Ripper song. I ran over. I smashed that like button.
Yep.
It was so good. I was so shocked. And I don't know if I was just shocked that I liked it because usually if Brian really likes something, I usually don't. I think that's funny.
I mean, we've found a few here.
We found a few. I just think it's funny overall.
Yeah.
But I also had just like really no thoughts about Silverstein really, like sonically or anything. So I went in just completely like, I got to listen to this. So we'll see what happens. Thoroughly impressed. They have also, so early in their career, they understand what they're trying to do. And they seamlessly blend everything together. And there's pretty much like little to no misses with it, is the thing. And I think for a band that early in their career to know what they're doing, that is so indicative of what their long lasting effect is going to be in the scene. Obviously, they're doing 20 years of this.
Yeah.
My overall top 3 from Silverstein's Discovering the Waterfront. Fists Wrapped in Blood.
Yeah.
I like how spooky the guitars are.
I almost dropped that in there and I'm like, I'm picking every song. I can't do it. But I was like, this is going to be a Lizzie song for sure.
It is. My second pick is Already Dead. The intro, it sounds like Coheed and Cambria. And it kind of lends to this mysterious story that they're telling in it too. And I'm a sucker for fun stories in a song. It's a lot less screamy than their other songs. So I was skeptical, but it's really well done. They're able to build a really intricate story in their lyrics, which, not to sound like old man yelling at the clouds, which there are even some artists today that haven't even mastered that or are able to do that after their 3rd or 4th album. Yep. So I'm very impressed.
Yep.
My other one is Your Sword versus My Dagger. This is where I'm gonna like sprint into the middle of the pit and then bring Brian with me and then shove him violently.
Oh, I can't there's no song on this record that I'm going to get near you for. Not a one.
No,
not
Brian.
a one, because you're going to be fucking feral. And no, thank you.
It's fun.
At ferality, yeah, for the feral one.
My least favorites from Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein is Call Me Karma.
Nah, dude. Wrong.
The way that I want to describe it, it's curated well, but it's really bright in sound and intonation compared to everything else. He does this higher, like Shane Told does this higher voice, and I don't know how to really describe it, but I just don't like it. I heard it and I said, ooh, stop that.
No,
It's icky sounding.
Nah.
It reminds me of early mom rock before mom rock like really popped off and was good. And they had that certain like intonation in their voice. It didn't do anything for me. It wasn't that bad, but I could definitely say we could take this off the album and it'd be fine.
Nah. There's a reason they play this live a lot. There's a reason that it's been a song that they have kept in their catalog for so long, because it's very good. It's super catchy. It is the more poppy song on the record, I think, overall. So I get it, but no, it's great. I don't really have an argument. Just
I was about
good.
to say, yeah. Other than that, I really had no issues with any of these songs. I think my thing is that I was more surprised that afterwards I would keep hitting like on so many songs.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do, when I'm listening to these songs, when we do these reviews, I will hit my main 3 likes and just be content with that. But this one, I went back and I said, oh man, what was like the one that I absolutely like ran to first and said, this is it? Because so many of them I really liked.
Yeah. God, this record's such heat.
This was really good.
Heat, dude. That's what we thought, and we were right. So who cares about anybody else's thoughts? But we did look up some other people's thoughts. We looked at Amazon reviews. We looked at Critic reviews. We got a good sense of other people's thoughts on these. And so I'll read a few Amazon reviews to let you know what the internet's thinking. This is a review by a user named CD Fanatic from 2016. 5-star review.
Okay.
Such an iconic album. This is the definition of great post-hardcore music. I don't know how I didn't find out about them sooner. This is basically you, 2016.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Finding out that they exist as a band.
So crazy.
The fact that they have no really bad lyrics is a plus too. Bad lyrics can ruin a musically great album.
Correct.
Their lyrics are beautiful and emotional. In fact, I would say some of the best lyrics in this genre. The album sounds great. The vocals, screams, drums, guitar, and everything. I also love how in the booklet there are notes from the singer, Shane, on what every song is about. I don't know if this is only in the deluxe reissue, which is the version I have, but it is very neat. My favorite tracks would have to be Smile in Your Sleep, Ides of March, Discovering the Waterfront, which is my favorite, Already Dead, and Call It Karma. Anyone who likes this style needs to own this. Even if you think you don't like Silverstein, trust me, you will not regret it. This is a band who puts real emotion and real thought into their music, so support them and buy this album. I agree with everything you said, especially the part where you said, Call It Karma. This is a review by Nate. It is 3 stars from 2005. Another drop in the bucket of Screamo.
Whoa.
I remember back in the good old days, 98, 99 or so, when the indie scene was still the indie scene and not all over MTV and on the radio.
Jesus Christ.
Back then, you pretty much had hardcore bands or punk bands. Then there were a few bands that you just couldn't quite classify. There were the bands that have now been termed Screamo. I look back at the beginnings of this branch of music and find that it all stemmed from 3 bands and 3 of their albums. Hot Water Music, Fuel for the Hate Game, Grade, Under the Radar, and Keepsake, The End of Sound. I remember back then being amazed at these bands doing things I had never heard before, meshing poppy melodies, clean vocals, and growling screams. And now, seems to me anyway, that there's not a single band around today that's not doing it.
Oh no.
This is my old man yelling at Cloud, sitting in the rocking chair and being like, okay, Grandpa, thank you. Which brings me to Silverstein's Discovering the Waterfront. It's not a bad album by any means. They're obviously talented musicians with a good singer and a knack for catchy hooks. There are some good toe tappers here. Your Sword versus My Dagger, which could easily get decent radio play. I don't know if it's mainstream radio in 2005. Octane could pick it up now and be great.
Yeah, it would not have done numbers back then. No. Octane, it would have to be on a very specific radio station now.
Yeah. Discovering the Waterfront and Fist Wrapped in Blood being some of the more standout tracks. I can't really say anything bad about the band or their music, except for they pretty much sound like every other band out there that's doing this genre right now. Screamo has hit the mainstream in a big way recently, i.e. Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, Hawthorne Heights, etc. And somebody needs to do something to rise above the rest of the crowd because just about everyone sounds the same. Discovering the Waterfront is a decent album, but it just doesn't amaze me. If you are into Screamo, it's worth a listen or two. But personally, I'd recommend that you go buy albums by the bands I mentioned earlier, Hot Water Music, Grade, or Keepsake, and hear what Screamo was like when it was new, fresh, still finding its legs, before it got a bit stale.
Now, here are some Critic reviews of Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein. Drowned in the Sound, it's the media outlet, published October 2005 by Brian E. Jemima. 2 out of 10.
Wow, okay.
Silverstein have returned with the follow-up to their rather successful Something Core debut, When Broken is Easily Fixed. Unfortunately, their sophomore effort, Discovering the Waterfront, sounds exactly the same. There is some unremarkable bog standard drumming, always the necessary spine of a shit band, and some over-nurtured songs that have so many catching soaring choruses peppered with screamo moments for the kids, capital T and capital K, to sing along to that it can be nothing but dull. And some distinguishedly tacked on strings half the way through, and you have more than enough reasons to press eject. Obviously, Silverstein have progressed, as one would expect in a couple of years, but the sorry record can only be perceived as a painfully bland attempt to appease and satisfy all existing fans. If this mercilessly untalented band is to pursue any longevity in their career, then some progression and quality is definitely required in the very near future.
Yeah, any negative review about this album is just straight up wrong.
Don't worry, we have another one.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, our friend from Punk News 2013 review by Brian Schultz is back. 2.5 out of 5 stars. Silverstein's first full-length, When Broken Is Easily Fixed, didn't even necessarily suffer due to its massively cliche nature, but more from a faulty, usually cringe-worthy lyrical base and a vast array of dragging tempos that rarely, if ever, slipped into or past mid-pacing. The sophomore effort here, Discovering the Waterfront, corrects the last of these attributes to a degree, as well as applying some more interesting guitar work and effects throughout, and providing some seriously competent melodies at plenty of the right times. However, it seems to act more as a profile of a band with potential to master the art of whatever fair to deathly rehash genre they wish to, but instead are catering to a sing-scream trend long worn out and further drowning in an act of watering down. Maybe what I'm trying to say is Discovering the Waterfront is better than what I was expecting, but not that much better. Silverstein are a moderately talented bunch playing a decent version of a completely tired out style, skimping out on the creativity, lost on a real direction, and so reliant on relationship turmoil anthems worded to just that right level.
I like how they start off these reviews by being very positive about something that is good and then hitting you with a however. That's what we thought. That's what the experts thought. That's what the people thought on the internet. But here's the last thing that we think, and we're going to tell you the answer to this question. Should you see Discovering the Waterfront by Silverstein at When We Were Young 2024? For me, resounding yes.
Yeah.
Like, the band has stayed so strong live. They're so good at what they do. This album rips. There's no misses. You're going to hear some huge songs, some major sing-alongs that the crowd is going to go crazy for. You can mosh, you can dance, you can do all that kind of stuff. So I think for me, yeah, resounding yes. This is now one of the records that I'm like putting at the top of my list of like must see this festival date.
Yeah, no, I think that this was really fantastic. And I don't think I've really seen Silverstein really live. And I think this would be
Silverstein.
I mean, maybe on like they were opening, but I can't really recall, honestly. So this would be a band I could say, oh my God, I can finally see them live and know that they do exist now in 2024 because I did it in 2016.
While we do have an interview up on the page where we talked to Shane.
He's very nice.
A little bit about Discovering the Waterfront. That interview happened right after their set. So we had to be at the interview and not at their set. I'll try to link that here. So if you would like to see him talking a little bit about the 20-year anniversary of Discovering the Waterfront, we talked to him a bit about it when they played Riot Fest here in Chicago. You can check out that interview at the card or in the description below. That was our thoughts. That's where we'll be when we were young in 2024. We're going to see it. We're going to be there. Will you be there? Are we right? Are we wrong?
Do you have bad taste?
Do you have bad taste? Like, man, there's nothing bad to say about this record, so you got to be agreeing with me. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. We will respond to all of your incorrect takes if you say that this is bad. We have a playlist of all the albums we are reviewing. Go and check it out if there's one that you are really excited for. Maybe we talked about it. Subscribe so you find out when the next one that we have is coming out, and then maybe that's your favorite. You can respond to that one. If we haven't gotten to it yet, we're going to get to it. We're coming around on all of them.
There's so many. You have to be patient, please.
So many.
We can only listen to so many albums.
We have 57. Anyway, that's what we thought about this. When we were young, 2024, Discovering the Waterfront, Silverstein. We will see you there. And we will. This record rules.